2024 Urbandale City Council meeting. I will call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to take roll call, please.
Bodie,
Here.
Carberry Montgomery. Here. McBurney,
Here.
Rosendahl.
Here.
Okay. Please stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Urbandale is a national leader in character counts, endeavoring at all times to promote and model the principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. In conducting tonight's meeting, we expect that all participants will act in a respectful manner consistent with these principles. Item 2 is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by McBurney, second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. All right, that passes. All right, item 3, presentations. First is the oath of office for 2 of our fire personnel. So I'm going to introduce our fire chief, Mike Carville. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Tonight we have 2 of our command staff who are receiving their badges. We're going to be doing Battalion Chief Mike Gentosi, who has been with the city originally more than 20 years ago, left for a little bit and has come back and recently promoted from the position of captain to one of our shift supervisor battalion chief's position. And then the second one we're going to introduce tonight is our new assistant chief. This is Derrik Bingham. Derrik comes to us by way of West Des Moines Fire, where he was a captain for 16 years and has now joined us as our assistant chief. So I'm going to ask the mayor to come up. We're going to do Chief Gentosi first for his oath, and then badge pinning, and then we'll move on to Chief Bingham.
I, Mike Gentosi,
I, Mike Gentosi,
do solemnly pledge
do solemnly pledge
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of battalion chief
the duties of Battalion Chief
for the Urbandale Fire Department.
for the Urbandale Fire Department.
I swear to support the Constitution of the United States
I swear to support the Constitution of the United States
and the laws of this state and the city of Urbandale.
and the laws of this state and the city of Urbandale.
I swear to uphold the values of the city
I swear to uphold the values of the city
and the department,
and the department,
placing above all else
placing above all else
our mission to preserve life,
our mission to preserve life,
protect property,
protect property,
and promote safety for the community
promote safety for the community,
and my fellow firefighters.
and my fellow firefighters.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
You want to introduce your family, Mike?
My wife Elena back there, Ayla, our oldest, Eliana, 10 and 8, and then Elias, we term our little tornado. Moving.
I, Derrik Bingham,
I, Derrik Bingham,
do solemnly pledge
do solemnly pledge
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of assistant chief
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of assistant chief
for the Urbandale Fire Department.
for the Urbandale Fire Department.
I swear to support the Constitution of the United States
I swear to support the Constitution of the United States
and the laws of this state
and the laws of this state
and the city of Urbandale.
and the city of Urbandale.
I swear to uphold the values of the city
I swear to uphold the values of the city
and the department,
and the department,
placing above all else
placing above all else
our mission to preserve life,
our mission to preserve life,
protect property,
protect property,
and promote safety for the community
promote safety for the community,
and my fellow firefighters.
and my fellow firefighters.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Would you like to introduce your family?
This is my wife, Shelley, my son, Callan, he's 9,
9. And my oldest is actually at basic training for the Air Force right now in Texas. So that's it.
Great.
Well, welcome back to Battalion Chief Gentosi. Mike, it's great. We've been back for a while. It was great to have you back on our community. And Chief Bingham, thanks for being here. Thank you for coming to Urbandale. Thank you for supporting our community. So appreciate it very much. And thank you for everyone being here to support everybody too. You know, we always say that they need your support as well. So thanks for being their support system, and thanks for being here to support them tonight. So we truly appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to proclamation for 2024 Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas the Parks and Recreation programs are essential to communities, including Urbandale, Iowa, whereas these programs are crucial for maintaining the quality of life, health, and economic and environmental well-being in Urbandale. Whereas Parks and Recreation promote healthy, active lifestyles, prevent chronic diseases, and enhance mental and emotional health. And whereas these programs boost Urbandale's economic prosperity by increasing property values, expanding the tax base, attracting tourism and businesses, and reducing crime. And whereas Parks and Recreation areas in Urbandale improve water and air quality, prevent flooding, provide vegetative buffers, and create wildlife habitats. Whereas they also ensure ecological beauty and offer spaces for all ages to connect with nature. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives designates July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Urbandale, Iowa recognizes the numerous benefits from parks and recreation resources. So now, therefore, I, Robert Andewig, Mayor of the City of Urbandale, on behalf of the Urbandale City Council, the Urbandale Parks and Rec Department, and the entire community, do hereby recognize July as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Urbandale. And I know we have 3 of our commissioners here. I think at least I know I see at least 2. Betty Devine and Lori Linhart are here. And is Renee Hoagland here as well? Renee's not here, so Betty and Lynn, do you want to come up? Or Lori, do you see me? Do you want to come up and set this and get a picture?
Jan's not here, so I'm stepping.
Yeah,
All right, get in there, Scott, yeah.
You know, like a mayor. You can leave here. Yes. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. All right. All right.
All right, moving on, we are on to Citizens Forum. This is the opportunity for someone to speak to the council on something that's not a part of tonight's agenda. And I see John Hollebrand's raising his hand first, so John, I'll recognize you first. And then we'll have the Channing Dutton moment.
For the record, John Hollebrand, 4217 86th Street. And I'm speaking to you tonight as a member of our Capital Improvements Committee. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not happy about the progress or lack of one of our projects. And that is the sidewalk under the railroad bridge on Hickman Road. Now, we have those traffic barriers up there, and they've been up there for quite a while. And the contractor is making, as far as I'm concerned, is a very nominal effort there. All they've done is dig up some of the existing sidewalk, and at the present rate, will be next year before they get this thing done. They haven't even begun to attack the major part of this, which is the excavation under the bridge. My point is, if they're not going to work the project, then let's get traffic barriers out of the way so we have unimpeded traffic flow through. This is a terrible inconvenience for the motoring public. Now, I've harped on this issue before, but I don't seem to meet. I've talked before about trying to change our contract documents so we have so many work days or otherwise control this thing where there's traffic impediments associated with it. But so far, I don't seem to be getting anywhere with it. So I thought I'd speak a little more strongly about it tonight. And that's what I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, John. John Larson's not in the room tonight, but I share your frustration with that too, John, so thank you. Channing?
Hello, I'm Channing Dutton. I live at 3815 Greenview, just a few steps away from City Hall. It's appropriate that I'm back tonight because the last 3 times I've spoke to you, I've had the chance to talk about unrelenting, the ongoing march of increasing storms and increasing hazards, not only in Urbandale, but in the state of Iowa. And now, since the last time I was here, we've had epic flooding that has closed swimming at Spirit Lake, Okoboji. It's ruined the economy for that region. The floods are moving south. Emmitsburg, their fine firefighters and police are starting that process of protecting that city, you know, the oath that we just heard. These problems continue to march on, and it's only a matter of time before it'll be Urbandale's turn. But I brought with me tonight something exciting, and that is you are on the verge of hiring your sustainability coordinator, and I would urge you to move at flank speed to get that done, because a coordinator can really help focus and deliver sharp performance on all sorts of issues that pertain to the warming atmosphere and our responses to it. And if you didn't look at the cool little car, the Chevy Bolt, that's the fire vehicle, my wife and I own a Bolt, and that car, other than a very annoying battery problem, has never been in the shop for a repair, and we're on our second one. And so there's really exciting things going on, but one thing that I'd like you to think about for your budgeting for the next cycle is to continue with this idea of let's make a declaration. Let's plant the flag in the ground. Let's tell the people of Urbandale who we are and our vision for the future. And so I brought with you, or brought for you, a graphic of what's called a solar flower. Now, this is something that we could put in any number of locations, including the City Hall location. But what this is a series of solar panels that unfolds in the morning sun, tracks with the sun during the day, and folds at night as the sun goes down. This is the type of thing that would fire the imagination of school children throughout Urbandale, and it makes real the idea of we can use solar, wind, geothermal to really make big changes now. And part of these changes that we need may require that the City Council take a careful look at this concept of ROI, return of investments on solar and energy projects. The panels that I have on my house have a 30-year life expectancy, and a return on our investment is projected to be about 15 to 20 years. And that can be the same for the city. And the concept of PPAs, power purchase agreements, allows both a homeowner and even the community to move forward with installing these projects right now and just buy energy from the solar providers in those power arrangements. So there are really great ideas that allow us to move forward and not wait for the rest of central Iowa or for the rest of the state. Urbandale's primed to make these moves now, and I would urge you to be bold. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Channing. Is there anyone else like to address the council on something on the part of tonight's agenda? Move on. Item 5 is to approve the minutes from the June 18 meeting.
So move.
Motion by Bodie,
Second.
second by Rosendahl. Discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 6 is the consent agenda. There are 9 items for approval.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by McBurney,
Second.
second by Rosendahl. Discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 7, planning and zoning items versus item 7.1, and that's the Magnolia Heights Plat 2 final plat at 153rd Street and Buttercup Way. And to introduce this is our Assistant Community Development Director, Christy Bales. Christy?
Very good. We are on 156th Street north of Waterford Road. This is the new elementary school that is under construction. The final plat before you this evening is Magnolia Heights Plat 2, excuse me. Those are the smaller red rectangles shown here. I'm hovering around it. Essentially, the red lines are all the lots that have gone and are approved as part of this overall preliminary plat. They're breaking the preliminary plat down into sections. So Magnolia Heights Plat 2 is only townhouses, and so the final plat is just for this area. You can see the detention pond is under construction. Since then, Buttercup Way and 153rd Street up to this location have been paved. If you've been out there in the area, just to see the school that's under construction. So this final plat is about 8.5 acres in size of the overall 100-ish acres that was in the original Magnolia Heights development. We are north of the 100-foot power line easement that runs through that section as well from 142nd and even farther west. This final plat includes 102 lots. This is at the maximum density allowed of 12 units per acre. So they have maximized the ability of that as it was outlined in the PUD master plan. For the most part, there's a combination of mostly 5-plexes. There's some 2s, there's some 6s, but that's how they get to the 102 units. There is a 30-foot landscape buffer along the west side of the project towards that single-family house that you see there that is existing. That landscape buffer was part of the PUD requirement as well. Minimum separation between buildings is 10 feet. And 25-foot front yard setback once those streets get paved. They are meeting all of those dimensional requirements with this final plat. Staff is recommending approval of the final plat, subject to the conditions listed in your staff report, which are fairly standard. There are always some fees that need to be paid. There are usually some easement and legal documents that come with that, and some minor tweaks to the final plat itself. So fairly straightforward in this case. Staff has recommended approval. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval last week. David Albright, as the developer, is here this evening. Should you have any questions for him, I will take any questions you may have first.
All right, thank you, Christy. Any questions for Christy?
Just a quick question on, just to confirm my memory, there's, I think, south of here, there's one of the parks that we drove by, or future park, I guess I should say, that we drove by in the tour, right? Or is that a different area that I'm thinking of?
That, I believe, is a different area you're thinking of. This had the sidewalk connection from the school right there under the power lines, and we'll have some kind of open space dedication, but there's not a formal park. That's in Barrett-Bozen, which is on the south side of Waterford.
And there's also one across the street from Barrett-Bozen.
Yes, Waterford Park is across the street as well, and I think that's where the Frisbee disc golf is located. The park you're thinking of, Blake, I believe is farther west, where the city owns the land. That new is farther west.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Chrissy, are there going to be any issues? I just now noticed this with the driveway that's almost butting up against Buttercup Way.
So all of, let me switch, let me go another place. There is a minimum 20-foot parking setback along Buttercup. So even with the site plan that requires some additional parking for the development itself, we don't believe so.
Okay.
It'll be of a scale. I'm going to zoom in on this for a second. Nobody's allowed to have their driveway access onto Buttercup. And so you'll see that the first building is probably about 50 feet away from Buttercup anyway. There's a 20-foot parking setback, there's a 35-foot building setback, and then the first structure can be built, but they're showing it about 50 feet back. So it shouldn't be too close.
Can you, if your question's answered, can you put the aerial back up?
Yes.
So where is if memory serves from when we drove there a couple weeks ago, the bus lane is near, on the north side of the school. I was just wondering about drop-off, pickup, conflict in people parking in this subdivision to get their kids to run across the street. And I don't know, parents do everything, to make it convenient.
Sure. So on the bus tour, let me check one thing before I. Yep. Nope. It's just, we have the 2023 aerials for Polk, but not Dallas, and we're in the Dallas County side. So I wanted to check, make sure I had his information in it for you. So the school bus traffic, let me start, the parents will drive here and down and around. You can see how that oval is forming up for the for the parent stacking. A separate entrance point onto Buttercup where it'll be one way in along the north side of the school and then this way out for the buses. They'll come in one direction, go east, come out. Will parents park there and wait for their kid? They might. I would hope that they not, but this school, I think they've learned more each time they've built a school. So I think there's more stacking distance than there has been on the one before. There's more parking than there has been on the one before. So,
I mean, the schools improve, but the parents don't ever really improve.
I'll leave that there.
But it's good that,
Yeah.
and I'm sure we'll be notified if there's problems eventually.
Probably so. This is a townhouse development where sidewalks are required on both sides of the street, even though the streets are private that will serve the townhomes. Sidewalks are required. Sidewalks will be on the north and south side of Buttercup Way because that is public. So we did try to think ahead as we were doing the PUD, making sure we could get pedestrian connection as much as possible, including that connection on the south, which we pointed out on the bus tour right there under the power lines. So.
What does is there any on-street parking in the townhouse area, or is it just too tight for that?
They actually dedicated what I'll call some guest parking, and it's not going to show on the plat because it's more of a site plan thing. They did, and they were required to provide some excess visitor guest parking, and they did provide that on the site plan. I think we required like one space per every 4 units, so they dispersed them throughout the development. Some are right here by this twoplex, some are over here in this gap along 153rd Street as well. So they did try to spread those out.
Gotcha. And it's one stall garage, right?
Yes.
And then I'm assuming there's not a ton of driveway, like you wouldn't be able to fit a car in a driveway in one of
Oh,
these.
you still will be able to
okay.
fit the car, yes. What we did is 25-foot front yard setback from the back of the curb. So that first 5 feet is the sidewalk, which leaves 20 feet for a car parking space in front of the garage. Now, I realize some vehicles are oversized and have a hitch on the back, and it can get a little beefy in size, but a standard parking stall is 18 feet deep. So with that 20 foot in front of the garage, we still feel that someone should be able to park there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we going to include, kind of piggybacking off of Bridget's question, are we going to include some sort of pedestrian crosswalk across there with any type of signage to?
No, not signed crosswalk.
Okay. Should we consider that?
I will have to defer to engineering department, but
Just thinking in
I can
the
ask
future, because I have to imagine that even with the parents doing the full oval, that you're going to have parents going right to kind of scoot around the entire elementary and sneak out the back.
there will be the full crosswalk at the intersection here in the lower right corner of the screen. I can't remember exactly because it's not directly across from one another.
perpendicular.
There's an offset, and I think we had this conversation that was more confusing. So we weren't going to stripe a crosswalk because it was going to be like this. So the full crosswalk is at the public street intersection. Doesn't mean people won't dash across the street.
Okay, one more.
Yes.
So the private streets, are those going to connect out to 153rd? Okay.
Yes, there are two street connections that come with that. One is up here, Stonecrop, and the other one is right here, and its name escapes me at the moment. And then there will be one here onto Buttercup. So 102 units has 3 points of access.
Awesome, thank you.
Stone crop,
Yes.
what's that mean?
Well, we have a section of it in Coyote Ridge, so we're continuing our parallel. It's on the approved list of names.
I know.
All right, anything further? That is our motion.
Motion to approve resolution 183-2024.
Motion by McBurney,
Second.
second by Carmen Montgomery. Discussion, please vote.
AJ, can I ask you a question related to school crossings and stuff? We get like a new updated plan like in August, don't we normally? From the police and engineering?
That passes.
Yes, it's the safe school routes we review in August with the school officials to see what have changed, what if anything has changed, and where they would like to have crossing guards, and if anything physically has changed that we need to be aware. So we've
Can you make sure that we see the plan for this new school, I guess? In particular, I know, I can't imagine much else has changed elsewhere, but
No, I can't think, this is the only new school in Urbandale with any of the school districts that we work with. So yes, I can get that when they come up with that. They're planning on.
And AJ, this is John, just
oh,
chiming in for a second. Yes, we are currently working with the Waukee schools. We've just sent all the drawings out to them with a plan to come back to council and get all the different safe school routes approved.
thank you.
Yep.
All right, item 7.2 is the quality manufacturing building addition site plan at 4200 Northwest Urbandale Drive. Christie?
Very good. This is a site plan for a building addition on Quality Manufacturing's building at the intersection of Aurora and Northwest Urbandale. This is the parcel outlined by the blue box. You can see on the west side it backs up to the railroad right-of-way. The property is a little over 12 acres in size. They are looking to add a 44,000 square foot building on the west side. So in general, on the back side towards the railroad tracks. We'll pop over here to the site plan so that you can see it. Oops. The existing building's a little over 150,000 square feet in size. Addition, as I mentioned, 44,000 square feet in size. You can see it here. They're essentially replacing pavement with buildings, so their square footage for impervious area hardly changes. There are no new employees with this building addition. It will be for warehousing with their existing operation. So one of the comments, and we discussed it with them as well, related to parking and figuring all that out, you won't see an increase likely in the need for parking. What they have will probably meet their needs. One of the comments is to address and verify that, but we don't think that's going to be an issue. There is some minor grading with the building addition. Nothing too extravagant. They are required to maintain 15% open space. That's the standard requirement of the zone district, and they do show that. They are required to screen all rooftop or ground mechanical equipment. This property is designated as industrial on the Forward Urbandale Comprehensive Plan and the Future Land Use Map. That designation does not change with that. This project is compliant with that. And so staff is recommending approval, as did the Planning and Zoning Commission last week, subject to the comments and conditions in the staff report. Just so you know, if you want to see kind of what that looks like on the back side, this will be it. So sort of a flat but gently sloping roof. The building is about a little over 22 feet in height on the short side. It will tie in to the existing building. It'll have an overhead door, traffic will still be able to circulate around it, but they'll remove some of that tractor trailer parking that they currently have in that area. They'll also go back to their detention basin, do some rework to make sure capacity is what it should have been, and at a minimum meets what it should have been, because over time, those kind of silt in and that sort of thing. And if they need to do any work, they'll do that with this project as well. Comments and conditions are in the staff report. Bart Turk is here from CEC to answer any questions you may have on the project. I'll take any questions you may have first.
Thank you, Christy. Any questions?
Are we requiring them to use same or similar material to what the existing building is?
We did not require that because it is not a condition of, it's just zoned straight zoning, and it doesn't have a requirement for building materials. So they are doing pre-finished metal wall panels, and it's allowed in the industrial zone district.
Just thinking about the aesthetic look to it more than anything.
We talked about that a little bit in the beginning. I think you'll hardly see it because of where it was located. At one point, there was a conversation about maybe doing the building addition on the south side of the building, which in the photo in front of you is on the right side of the building, and we kind of had that conversation. They ended up going on the west side, so it's the railroad track buffer on one side, and I don't think
It won't be visible at all.
it'll be as visible as much unless you're looking for it, kind of thing.
And is that 15% required open space, does that include parking or exclude parking?
It excludes surface parking.
Okay.
It's grass and trees and landscape. Part of the plan will be that they also reestablish some of the landscaping that's gone dead or missing over the years since the prior plan, and they'll need to install that along Northwest Urbandale.
Okay, thank you, Christy.
Yeah, sure thing.
So now that I'm paying much more attention to stormwater practices,
Yes.
I'm assuming this was in the works prior to July 1st, so it didn't have to change anything, but it sounds like we're just substituting impervious surfaces for cement for the rooftop. So does it really change anything, Pat? No?
Does in fact change. We're required to bring the building addition, that area itself is being required to comply with the latest bill for stormwater requirements.
Okay.
It doesn't change the overall impact.
Okay. Trying to understand more.
Yep. And the detention pond is shown here, and you can see how they have some grading that's proposed to reestablish that minimum size on the basin.
All right. Any further? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve council letter 7836.
Motion by Rosendahl,
Second.
second by McBurney. Discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 7.3 is to consider the Walnut Crest Plat 5 preliminary plat at 15200 to 15350 Meredith Drive.
Very good. And if it's okay, Mr. Mayor, I would like to take, my next presentation will cover all three cases that you're going to have. So I'll talk once, but you can vote 3 times.
Got it. Talk once, we'll vote 3 times.
Exactly. Okay. So for locational purposes, we are at the southwest corner of 152nd Street and Meredith Drive. So in the aerial photo, the fire station is here. 156th Street is here on the left. Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh, come and go. This is where we are. If you've been out in this area lately, there is a set of townhomes, about 40 of them currently under construction by Caliber. They were required to tie in with an access point up here to Meredith, and then tie in through this existing commercial driveway to the west to 156th Street. So we're going to concentrate on this parcel right here. The development includes a preliminary plat, a final plat, and a site plan for a new daycare. So to start, I have the preliminary plat in front of you. You can see 152nd Street on the east, Meredith Drive on the north. The daycare is going to be on Lot 1, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But for preliminary plat purposes, they are required to show how it's going to lay out. So we can look at things like access, cross-access, how this all ties in. The property is part of the Walnut Crest PUD master plan, so rezoned quite a while ago. This is designated for retail uses. I mentioned that, or excuse me, it's designated for office uses. I mentioned that because at some point later this summer, you'll have a public hearing about adding some retail uses, but we're going to save that for later. So designated for office uses, it does include a daycare as a permitted use. So no PUD amendments were required for this concept. So this is how it may develop in the future and how we looked at it in terms of the site plan for the new daycare, which is here. Daycare, a little over 11,000 square feet in size, Everbrook Academy. They are showing an access onto 152nd Street here in the lower right-hand corner, and one access that will be shared here along the north to Meredith Drive. So you can see how they're thinking ahead to how they'll connect to the west as future development comes on board. I'll zoom in just a little bit.
Is that a full access on 154th or whatever?
152, yes.
Well, on the one adjacent to the fire station, that's 152nd, right?
Yes.
But so that's a full access, but is the one on the west?
The one that goes into Meredith?
Yes. It looks like it was one you just,
No.
no.
That access, I thought it was easier to flip over to the aerial. The full movement access is farther down, closer to the come and go, not quite at come and go.
Okay.
This is.
And the townhouses down here, which of these accesses out of come and go is going to become the road?
They will tie into this, I'll call it a frontage road segment. When they laid that out, they laid it out thinking ahead to how that would tie into through a parking lot. So they will tie into that little frontage road section that will then go to Meredith.
Okay.
So back to the site plan, 75-foot front yard setback is required, click here, along Meredith Drive. 75-foot setback is required along 152nd Street, and this building is meeting those. There is a landscape buffer that is shared between this half and half and the townhome development to the south. So part of the trees are on the townhome development, part of them have to be on this development as well. And if you go by there, I think most of the trees are planted and it's looking pretty good and well established. They are required to have their dumpsters screened. They have their playgrounds laid out on the south side of the building towards the residential instead of towards the street. They have shown the parking that's required per the development. The stormwater detention plan or stormwater detention basin will be along Meredith. You can see the flume here along the top that's part of that design as well. As I mentioned, childcare is already a permitted use in the development. Staff is recommending approval subject to conditions in the staff report. I'm going to highlight one because I know it's going to come up, so I'm going to plant the seed and then leave it to someone from CDA to talk about it a little bit more. In the staff report, there is a condition regarding the sidewalk. As you can see, the 4-foot sidewalk is already paved here along Meredith. One of the conditions in the staff report was to take that out and put in a 5-foot sidewalk. 5 foot is now, in today's terms, our standard requirement. They're going to talk to you about the costs and maybe not having to do that. So you can think about it as we go through the presentation on if that should be replaced. I will note we did put in a wider sidewalk from the fire station to this intersection because at one point there was talk about could there be a potential for a restaurant and some trail action along Meredith Drive. So this section was already widened in the past in anticipation of kind of some more bike traffic. Subdivision code now requires 5-foot sidewalks for all development. So it will be to you to determine if you want to you're good with the 4 foot that's there, or continue with the requirement that is, it get replaced with a 5 foot sidewalk of the project. And I say of the project because it's not really clear in code that we should require them to rip it out. It's a condition we put on the project. You as the council can decide if you want to make that a condition of approval or let them keep it as is. Then the final component of this, so you've seen the preliminary plat, the final plat, or excuse me, the preliminary plat, the site plan. The final plat is just a 1-lot subdivision shown here that creates that 2+ acre lot for the daycare. So it includes the easements for the cross access, it includes the easements for the stormwater detention basin, it includes the landscape buffer easement. So it's kind of one package. You have the preliminary plat showing how it's all planned in the future for this whole entire outlot. You have the final plat showing the creation of the one buildable lot. The remainder would be an outlot as is, so it would have to come back in front of you someday. And you have the site plan showing how this lot 1 would be developed specifically. With all of that, I will take any questions you may have. Keith Wagon, Chris Bowers are both here from Civil Design Advantage, who did all the civil drawings. They can answer any questions you may have. I'll try to field any questions you may have first.
I see quite a bit of pedestrian and bike, like school time along this segment here. That area, I believe, to the north is still staying with Walnut Hills when they redistricted the elementary schools.
Okay.
So there's still a potential for school walking traffic for those parents that don't drop them off.
Gotcha.
So I guess would like to have a little discussion from folks about the 4 foot versus 5 foot. I'm sure they'll tell us it's really expensive, but I do see a lot of kids and people walking their dogs along here, and it does seem very, very narrow, so.
Very good. I will turn to them to see if they want to talk more about that topic.
Good evening, Keith Wagon with CDA 4121 Northwest Urbandale Drive, Urbandale. Also with me tonight, Chris Bauer from our office, and here tonight on behalf of Oppidan and Everbrook Academy and also Walnut Crest Land. Just a little bit of information about who Everbrook is. I think they're a newer model that you probably haven't seen before. They're part of the Learning Care Group, who has child care schools in 20 states throughout the country. Everbrook is their first model that they've ever done here, and this is the first Everbrook model that they've done here in Iowa. They have 3 other schools in the area today, 2 La Petite academies and 1 child time school. This Everbrook model, in comparison to the La Petite Academy, is very similar. It's a little bit larger, but the primary differences are it's a little bit more spacious. So students have their own cubbies. Each classroom has its own restroom, so they're not sharing restrooms with other classrooms. Those are the biggest things. But in terms of comparison, La Petite Academy would be a great comparison. Christy did a great job explaining the project and the site plan. Regarding the sidewalk, we were asked to push back on that a little bit. Today, there is a 4 foot sidewalk existing in very good shape. I think it's overgrown a little bit, but with some maintenance can be cleaned up. I think overall the concrete is in solid condition. The biggest thing about this part of it is there's a 10-foot bike trail on the north side of Meredith. If we go through and revise the existing sidewalk, it is an added expense that they were looking at not having to do. Just for comparison purposes, it's about 280 feet long, and we think that by the time you rip it out, put 5 foot back, mess around with the ramps, the curbs, and things at the intersection, it's probably about a $20,000 add to the project. Typically, what we see in most cities, this isn't uncommon. We see this a lot where we're in areas that already have a 4 foot wide sidewalk within the right of way. In most cases, to satisfy PROAG requirements, we're removing a section, like a 4 foot by 5 foot section of that sidewalk, and putting a 5 by 5 panel back in. And that's to accommodate typically the turning space requirements that PROAG lays out. So in this case, over that 280 feet, If you're allowed the existing sidewalk to mostly remain, we'd be replacing those, or putting in those turning space panels, one at each opposing end and then one in the middle, which would satisfy pro-ag requirements. So again, about a $20,000 add. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it is an expense that they would like to save. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Does will the properties remain in ownership of Walnut, from one end to the other? Is that the 280 feet, or is that just in front of the daycare?
Just in front of the daycare. So the rest of that sidewalk that goes all the way down to Come and Go is in the same, and to 256th Street. My understanding is that's 4 feet also, all the way through.
So, but the group that you are representing, the Everbrook, who is leasing the ground, or are they buying it?
They would purchase this lot that would be platted as a result of the final plat.
And the rest of it is still remaining in the ownership of the developer?
Yes, Walnut, yep.
I mean, I guess I would be open to discussing maybe when the whole thing, I don't know, is that an option, when the whole thing develops, to require it to be widened? I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there because I'd really like to see it widen, because just school safety, obviously, we've talked about it tonight, is a big deal. And if you're on the north side, you're not going to cross to the south side until you get to 156th Street if you're coming from the neighborhoods all the way further towards 142nd Street, because there's no crossing, no light. So that's why I'm concerned about the width, but I guess I'd be willing to see if we could come to a creative solution. If the others, you said maybe we're going to hear some other things later this summer.
Want me to speak to that? Yeah, we do have an application on behalf of Walnut Crest Land LLC, who owns the rest of the outlot to the west of this, and also the platted lot between that outlot and Come and Go in the car wash. We have a PUD amendment request that has recently been submitted, which I think will probably show up on your agenda 2 meetings from now, I think. And that is to allow the same uses on this outlot within the PUD as what's allowed on the platted lot that's right behind Come and Go to the east. This outlot, currently the PUD allows mostly office-type uses and uses like the daycare. That platted lot behind Come and Go, or east of Come and Go, has some more traditional commercial or retail uses allowed in it.
As a resident of this neighborhood?
Yeah, I think that's where I struggle, is you're looking at lots 2, 3, and 4 as potentially being retail, or at least trying to court some retail into it. And if those do turn into eateries or anything like that that attract potential foot traffic, then I think we're gonna want those 5-foot sidewalks, because we have the trail right by the fire station that comes up. And then, as Christy had pointed out, we already have that 5-foot sidewalk. I feel like, for me personally, if we end up putting something in there that attracts that type of traffic, then we're gonna want those 5-foot sidewalks.
Sure, I can understand that.
Are there ramps on the corner? Because it looks like there's ramps going in on the left or on the west side. Are there existing ramps on the corner of 152nd and Meredith?
Yes.
Anything further? So Christy, just to be clear, the sidewalk condition is part of which approval that we're doing tonight for the?
The sidewalk condition is in the site plan stuff.
Okay.
And it's already in there, so we wouldn't have to
Yeah.
amend the, okay.
Planning and zoning did require that as well, correct?
Yes, they kept the condition in the way staff had written it. So it says the 4-foot sidewalk along Meredith Drive will need to be replaced with a 5-foot sidewalk to conform to current code. As lots develop to the west, the sidewalks will be required to be replaced with a 5-foot walk as well.
So to round it out, and this doesn't have anything to do with this particular location, because I believe Come and Go is also 4-foot sidewalk, right? All the way around the corner. How do we eventually get to the point where we can make it 5 foot all the way through? Or is there anything that we can do?
It's a good question. I don't know that there's anything until, I don't know that there's anything we can do immediately.
Until the retaining wall falls down again?
Yeah, or if they come back and want some consideration from the council,
Yeah.
and you consider it as, we'll think about that, and one of the conditions would be a 5-foot sidewalk.
Gotcha.
Is it possible to hear from engineering about the actual truly increased safety from going from 4 feet to 5 feet? Because just intuitively, I'm not seeing it, but I'm sure people have researched this and know more than I.
John, are you on?
Yep, I am on still. Again, I think it's more convenient to have the 5 feet over the 4 foot. Keith is right. The ADA or PROAG rules do allow for the occasional wider space. We've just put it in our code that the whole thing should be 5 foot. Just believe it makes for a much better appearance of the sidewalk to be a consistent 5 foot instead of just all of a sudden every once in a while you have a little bit bigger panel. Again, I just think the 5 foot does provide more convenience, more, easier for two people to meet each other over the 4 foot.
Okay, thanks.
Christy, is there a way that we could require that it not have to be put in until the remainder of the lots there are developed? I don't know if that would make it any better or.
They would have to do that one panel at least in the middle if we were to do that, right? Like if there was a delay, there would still have to be some work done on it.
I think why I hesitate a little bit is this is likely a negotiating point between buyer and seller.
Okay.
And so I don't know if we want to kick that can down the road. I have a feeling that when you see this in 4 weeks, one of your conditions of the PUD amendment for allowing additional retail uses will be to swap the sidewalk out to a 5-foot sidewalk. So I feel we're getting there anyway.
You're teasing me.
Well, no, because I saw the draft staff report today. So I have a feeling that one of the conditions would be like, in exchange, and that's what you can do with PUDs is, you want some stuff, we would like some stuff. One of those may be likely, you want some retail, we want a 5-foot sidewalk for better flow and pedestrian mobility and kind of the vision that was seen with some of the wider sidewalks that are coming into this, especially from the east and that work that was done. So I think that if you don't make the decision right now, in 4 weeks, you're going to make a decision to approve it subject to a 5-foot sidewalk being constructed along Meredith. So you're kicking the can down 4 weeks. They're down the road.
We'll have lost the ability to require them to ever, Brook Academy to require them to do a 5-foot if we don't approve that.
No, because this Everbrook parcel is part of that request to add retail. They didn't carve that out. It is this whole outlot B that is part of the consideration.
So we can wait.
You can, but I think you're going to get to the same answer anyway, so I'm not sure it's worth.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say, Bob?
So why would we wait?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
they're gonna put 5-foot sidewalks along 152nd Street. They're gonna tie in, go back to the site plan. You can see how the 5-foot sidewalks are gonna come in. So it's really just gonna be this awkward section of 4-foot sidewalk right in front that it's just smaller. And you're going to have 5-foot sidewalks tying into it on both ends. So from staff perspective, I see no reason not to require it now as part of this project. Ultimately, your decision, but like I said, I have a feeling in 4 weeks, a 5-foot sidewalk is a condition of your recommendation.
Sounds like a good plan.
I wouldn't mind some consistency on it, so.
So yeah, I guess I'll move approval of Council Letter 7837.
Okay, motion by McBurney on item
Second.
6.3, second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
And I'll move Resolution 182-2024 for approval.
Second.
By McBurney, second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
And I'll motion to approve Council Letter 7839.
Second.
Motion by McBurney, second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. That passes. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Item 8.1 is to consider the City of Urbandale flag. And who's going to? Well, I guess I provided, yes, that's right. I'm sorry. That was my council letter that was the whole discussion. I was like, who's going to open this up? I guess I am. So, well, please don't turn this down now.
I don't know. I'm shaky at this point.
After all we've done for this, I think we have, again, we have a great result, had a great buy-in from the community, I think, so far. So I would ask for your approval of officially adopting our flag as the official Urbandale flag.
Motion to approve Council Letter 7842.
Okay, motion by McBurney,
Second.
second by Rosendahl. Any further discussion?
It's beautiful.
Please vote.
But I didn't wear the shirt for nothing then.
That passes. And again, I want to thank everybody involved in the process. Blake yes, Blake was on the committee, but also I'm looking at Derrik and Curtis. Thank you for spearheading it from a staff standpoint. Jody Gilson-Schrage is here as well from the committee. So Jody, thanks for being here as well. So thanks for everybody's participation in the process, and let's get out and promote it over the 4th of July. So any further comments on it? Everybody like it? I hope so.
Will we ever get to meet the designer?
She was there.
She was? Oh, shoot. I didn't know that. Mr.
Oh, Sophie Meyer, she was there.
Yeah, shoot. Sorry, I missed her.
Yeah.
She's very shy.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe it's, all right. Well, it's cool design.
Well, she went up right away and took a picture next to the flag. And so I did you design it? And so she fessed up, and I thanked her profusely for her work.
Well, good. Glad that happened.
Everybody hearing good, positive comments and overall? Good.
Yeah, all great.
All right, item 8.2 is consider the purchase of the office furniture for the City Hall remodel Phase 3, and Scott will answer any questions if there are.
Motion to approve Council Letter 7843.
Motion by Rosendahl,
Second?
second by Bodie. Discussion, please vote. Okay, all right, that item passes. Item 8.3 is have a discussion regarding the city manager search request for proposal process, and I'll turn it over to AJ to start us off.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This is a draft document that was prepared by Erin Freeman, our Director of Human Resources. She unfortunately had scheduled vacation for this night in advance of the dates being set. So this is your first look at it. So take a look. If you have any questions or comments, we will have a follow-up discussion next Tuesday at your Lunch and Learn. And then that will be, if you have that time, and I know it's over the 4th, but this follows a format that is, I will say, in my review of it, is extremely standard in the industry. about what you look for in developing an RFP for these types of services. I think Councilmember Bodie had some comments that I saw you had emailed me, and I can incorporate those into the discussion for the next council meeting.
Yeah, they were really simple comments, and I don't seem to have the hard copy. Was I supposed to pick it up probably from a mailbox or something, or?
No.
Oh, okay. But at any rate, I was just suggesting when we recommend the documents that we want them to be familiar with to make the proposal, that we include the comprehensive plan and the strategic plan.
Yes, and that made sense, so we'll put those in there. Also, please take a look at it, and we'll continue this discussion with your formal approval for next week. Even though it's a lunch and learn, we do take action periodically.
Okay, great.
I will, the DART meeting for today was rescheduled to next week, so I will likely not be in attendance.
Will you be available by phone?
Not, because the DART meeting's at the same time. So I'll just talk to you
That'd be fine.
and
Myself
let
or
you
Aaron.
know. So, I mean, big picture, this is to hire the firm.
Correct.
And we're gonna lay out what we want them to do.
Correct.
But like when they will help us like do the job description and those sorts of things.
Yes.
Okay,
They will work with you to find out how you wish to take this search forward.
okay.
Then they will format it into their format and then to what we consider, industry standards and their, and material that I see continually, recruitments, newsletters, those type of documents that go out to folks in my profession.
I guess another question would be, Mayor, what are you anticipating the selection committee for the firm being? Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you to be part of that.
Okay, but like.
Are you
just
okay?
count-
Seriously, I was going to reach, I was going to have you, I was going to have a subcommittee of you and Amy.
Okay.
And these would be due, so it's, again, if you look at the time frame, it's a very tight time frame. So I'd like to have you two and me and Aaron available the first week of August to review those and make a recommendation to council for that next meeting in August for the council.
That should work. I'll look at my calendar more carefully, but yeah, I was just wondering that, so.
Well, I was about ready to ask you that, so. So yes, so these will be due, as you see, August 4, and we would have, I think the council meeting in August is the following week.
We changed that, one of those dates.
Well, we did,
Monday.
for the first one.
Yeah, August 5th will be your first meeting in August instead of the 6th because that is National Night Out. And so that'll be that Monday. And then the second full meeting would be then, I'll look to.
Be the 20th, actually. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, because.
How do we decide that with Aaron as far as when? Or I think we have a lunch and learn scheduled for the 13th. I think the plan was maybe have that on the agenda
That
for.
we can, yes. You have, again, getting back to the lunch and learn, that is a formal council meeting, and you are, as long as it's placed on the agenda appropriately, you can take any action you wish.
Yeah, I think that was, as thinking back to what we discussed with Aaron, I think that was the plan,
Yes.
is that we take that week of the 4th to make a recommendation and then have that on as an action item on the lunch and learn on the next week, so.
So on page 3, August 20th would actually be August 13th,
I think,
city council consideration.
I think, Bridget, what we would do probably is make a recommendation and have the recommendation subject to entering into a final agreement. And then the firm would have to provide the final agreement by the 15th. We'd review it, and then we formally approve it on the 20th.
Okay.
Essentially, just getting the finalization of the document.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have, again, more discussion next week at your lunch and learn meeting. And again, your schedule now is conflicted. Just let Aaron or myself know any comments or questions you have.
I definitely will. And I guess just related to that August lunch and learn, hadn't we pushed back the AARP, senior housing?
Yes, at their request, we pushed that meeting back until the August Lunch and Learn. And quite honestly, any action on this by the August Lunch and Learn really should be fairly, you should have most of the heavy lift out of the way.
So we can still do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I have not seen any material from the AARP. It's kind of a trifecta of groups that are coming, I think, under the AARP umbrella. I have not seen anything. I've asked them to communicate either myself or to the city clerk about any material action. So we'll follow up with those folks just to make sure we keep it within our time frame.
That sounds great.
Our meeting starts at noon that day.
Yeah.
What if we moved up our meeting to 11 o'clock? Would that work for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I would just call in from,
Well, it's going to be all virtual anyway.
yeah, so I mean,
So if we moved it up to 11, would that work?
it would help. I can either already be downtown or,
11 o'clock on the
On the 9th?
9th. Got it.
Does that work for everybody to move it up to 11 o'clock?
I might end up joining just a few minutes late. I've got a meeting from 9 to 11,
Okay.
but I can grab at 11 and get on.
Or even 11:15? I mean,
11:15.
I don't think it's going to take, what else did we have to cover next week for our lunch and learn?
Oh, I know the engineering department had 2 items on. Quite honestly, I can't recall what they are.
Well,
It's,
if we could start at 11:15 and do the
the-
city manager stuff,
Yeah, that's
fine.
that would be great.
let's do that.
That should work.
okay.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
All right.
Other than thanks for the quick turnaround and
Yes.
You're welcome.
something to work on.
Yeah,
did a
thank
very
you
nice
very
job
much.
with that. Very
This
complete.
looked really good.
Yes.
All right, that takes us to the end of our regular agenda, so.
Again, I'm just incredibly impressed with the whole process of the flag discernment and education and the video that you guys put together and then the unveiling was just really, really impressive. And thank you to everyone from the community, staff, council, mayor, you guys put in a lot of hours on all of our behalf, and I really appreciate that. Along the same lines, the state of the city was excellent. Maybe we need to do a flag every year to get that sort of turnout.
That's my line.
Oh, sorry. Or figure out something new to debut next year. So I don't know, but it was just top notch. Those videos were incredible, and I look forward to sharing those, especially the ones related to the CIT. I got those letters right. Just such a great program, but all the videos were really impressive. And then as my new interest in stormwater, on Meredith, west or east of Alice's Road, on the Clive side south, they have some unique water detention areas that are like bricked in, and then now they are filled with beautiful wildflowers. And I see you shaking your head. I texted my friend that's the parks director there to figure out what they're called. I don't know what they're called, but it would be something I'd love to see us.
Where is it?
It's so across from our farm friends on Alice's and Meredith. Clive is on the south side, and there's 2 of these large rectangular bricked in stormwater detention.
They have I've seen similar ones.
And I don't know how they work, but right now they are filled with flowers and make me really happy when I drive by. So I'd love to see us look into my very not well described stormwater management practice, but it sounds like you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And then I am slinging bingo balls here at 8 o'clock. If anybody's heading over to the to the carnival, so thank you.
Pat?
I want to ditto everything she said about the flag and the state of the city. I just thought that was one of the most magnificent events, and the videos were amazing. And the crisis intervention team video, we need to find more and more places. It's just such a strong piece of work. It's very exciting, so thank you for that. I'm extremely excited about the all-electric vehicle that's out in the parking lot, or at least was out in the parking lot. Hopefully it's still there. I think it's really great that we're going down that path. I want to thank the Public Art Committee, the Parks and Rec, and the library, and Derrik in particular for helping to publicize the flute and harp concert that went as well as it could in that weather, but I could have played better, okay? But it was pretty good.
Okay.
The Historical Society's Ice Cream Social was wonderful, perfect day. And I just want to reiterate what John Hollebrand said at the beginning of the meeting about the piece along Hickman Road. I have to confess, I drive there a lot, and I have commented out loud while driving, like, what the heck? And I realize I don't know. I mean, we've had a lot of weather. There could be all kinds of reasons. But it does feel a little disconcerting to keep driving by and not seeing a lot of action. So if
Douglas too, really.
yeah. So if those are the cases, it would be nice to either figure out a strategy for the future and/or maybe there is something going on where some signage could be warranted and could help. I don't know, but it was disconcerting. I certainly understand why John spoke to that. And then I've just got a quick set of questions about status of, and I don't need the answers tonight, but I just want to make sure we don't lose them on our radar. The natural resources management planning piece, the renewable energy study for our government buildings. It got referred to tonight as the sustainability coordinator. I can't remember the terminology we had, but we were bringing someone on board in January, allegedly.
Name, there was no specific title.
Yeah, no specific title, okay. I'd love to know the status of that. And the outreach person for Derrik as well. And we had also discussed that we were looking at a way to do a stormwater and stream restoration management study west of 86th Street. These were all items that we either out and out budgeted for, or we had plans for some level of advancement or execution in 2024, 2025. And I just want to make sure we don't lose sight of them and that we're hearing about them. And I think that was my list. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Pat. Blake?
Just another plug for the 4th of July. It kicked off a couple hours ago, and it's hopefully, weather permitting, going to continue kicking off. Big plug for the flag tent. Was that 10:30 to 4:30, Curtis? Yes. On the 4th-ish? So selling flag swag at the Lions Park. So direct all of your friends that missed out on State of the City to that tent. One question I had, so when I was driving here, Douglas, all the cones have migrated to the side, so the lanes are all open again.
Yes.
West of 86th. Is that a permanent item, or is that just to facilitate traffic flow for the 4th?
John, are you still with us?
I'm still with you, and that is for the 4th of July activities. They'll all go back up next Monday, but we made them open everything up for the activities.
Okay. And then I saw that the railroad crossing on the northwest corner of 100th and Douglas was worked on, or at least like there's no longer the pads there. So
Yes.
I don't know if there's just like a more formal update for that, but thank you for whoever
Railroad?
did that. I saw them working on it, so.
John, do you have an update on the
I'll
road?
try to answer. They're vacuuming right outside my door at the moment. Sorry. Yeah, we worked with the railroad, so they allowed us to remove the rubber crossing and put in temporary asphalt. Our plan is when in, I believe it's 2027, when we replace the entire crossing across Douglas, we'll also do the trail crossing at that time.
Awesome, thank you. That's all I got.
Thanks, Blake. Larry?
Just, I think they stole everything else, but the one thing I want to bring up for Bravo is we are looking for panelists to review grant applications for the general operating grants that'll be coming up in August, I believe. So if you are willing to put forth approximately 6 hours to review some of the grant applications that we receive, just let me know and I'll connect you with the Bravo folks. I believe they even said that there is potential for a small stipend for people who are willing to do it. I know, right? It's crazy.
Or a free lunch. I mean, I'm easy.
No, ideally, they're looking for just people that are either involved in the arts and culture area or just people passionate about it. So
This is just to review and like provide feedback,
Yep.
general feedback for
yep,
them.
they'll provide you a grading rubric of these are the things that they're looking for, and they'll give you. It's usually like 3 applications randomly.
Gotcha. You said when was that?
I believe it starts in August is when the applications begin getting submitted to Bravo. So it'll be probably a month or 2 after that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing some of those.
Okay, I'll forward it on to you so that way you can get your name added.
All right.
Bob, I've got one thing before you go. I sent an email to all of you. I am taking co-lead with Eric Klein of Clive for the 3 to 5 for Dallas County initiative. We are rolling out petitions starting tomorrow at the Waukee 4th of July festivities. Anywhere where people are gathering within Dallas County, we will be trying to have a table or people with petitions. I guess I'm assuming you all know what I'm talking about, but increasing the Dallas County Board of Supervisors from 3 to 5 members. We need about 5,000 signatures by mid-August. Even though you all don't live in Dallas County, I hope that you guys at some point can, take a shift at some event, or I want to clarify with AJ, but like we're having our movie night next week, I think, out at Walnut Creek Regional Park and, doing a table there. Courtney Clark is still kind of leading the charge, but I think Eric and I, and hopefully somebody from out in the county will also be able to jump in and get, just be where people are. I'm not scared about the number of signatures, but it's just gonna, many hands make light work.
And Bridget, just to clarify for the folks at home or watching the video.
You mean Rob Davis?
Well, yes, also Rob. This is just Dallas County
Yes, so
residents,
it
right?
will be, in order to sign it, you have to be an eligible voter for the November 2024 election. So someone that is 18 by November 2024, or I don't even think you need to be registered to vote. You just need to be an eligible voter. So
In Dallas County.
living in Dallas County, yes, that is the key. So, so I will be bugging you guys in the coming weeks to help out where you can, and I hope that everyone understands the value of having more representation for the tax money that we contribute to the government of Dallas County.
Well, we'd still have a table for the 4th, even though I realize we're in Polk County, but we'll still have a lot of Dallas County residents.
Well, I didn't know we were having a table, and I don't know who is
No, I don't know if we are.
that, well, we're having a flag swag table.
Oh,
So it's just a matter of whether, who's personing the flag swag table? Well, maybe Curtis could have a clipboard and if people stop, just ask. I don't know.
Can we as a city be involved at that level, though?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. I mean, I believe you signed on to it, right, Mayor? Like,
We signed a letter of support, expressing support to the supervisors to do something. Every city did.
I know all of us.
17 or 19 Dallas County cities did that, but now if it's going for a ballot initiative, Tim, remind us, I think Bob had laid out some general principles, but we can't officially take a position as a city on this at this point, though, correct?
Individually, the council members can. As a group, you cannot endorse it to say, please vote for this. The collection of the information that City Attorney Layden provided for me, and we have a general outline that I sent out a week or so ago that kind of gives those parameters. I know that Mayor Clark was also conferring with their city attorney. I think there was a concurrence of the process. We always err on the side of caution. So it would be that the city council has taken the action to request the supervisors the authorization through the mayor's letter. And then individually, you folks could either go collect signatures or we can have a table at a city-sponsored event. We can. So it is at the 4th of July. If it's not too late, you could have it at Party the Park. The film event that Councilmember Carberry Montgomery mentioned out west. You could have it at any place where you think that there is going to be a number of people, but you have to specify, as it's been said here, you have to be a Dallas County resident. And of course, they'll come to National Night Out. I don't know if that will make the deadline. I'm trying to think of
It's mid-August.
Mid-August, so that could be a booth there, but again, very specific about that. So it can be on city property, but again, we have to be careful about official endorsements.
So could Curtis have a clipboard on Thursday at the flag swag table?
I will confer with the city attorney once again to make sure with Curtis's position. He would have to have, I'll have to go back and look at the series of emails. If there is
We can exchange emails
if
tomorrow.
there's a designated form that they've come up with.
Yes.
I think there is.
There is.
Okay, so I'll have to get that for him.
We'll email tomorrow and figure it out.
It will be in
Make sure
tomorrow.
in the event that somebody questions why we're doing it.
And there's a FAQ as well.
Right, there's a question and answer, and it really is, for those who are collecting signatures, if you're inquired, it's just, you're collecting signatures for a ballot initiative, November of '24, to take the supervisor's number from 3 to 5.
Gotcha.
All right.
Sorry for that.
I have a couple things. First of all, I think Derrick's just sent out a press release on the flag as we're sitting here. You're about to? All right. We approved one earlier, and so that'll go out. As far as the state of the city, if you want to hear it again, I'll be doing it again on July 17 at the Chamber Luncheon. So look for that if you want to sign up to watch that again. I don't think I have anything further above what everybody else has said. So again, thanks everybody for everything they've done so far and on all of the fronts that we've accomplished. And I look forward to a great 4th of July. So we'll see you in a couple days at
We'll meet down here at the Parks.
Yeah, the facility over here, right, Nicole? So.
Yep.
All right. It's not going to rain either, I promise.